this video, I'm gonna tell you about every single NPC in the 3rd sea, from the ones that everybody knows to the ones that are completely hidden. Starting off at Town, the very first island of the 3rd sea, we got the experienced captain. He's obviously the one who takes you back and forth to the 3rd sea. Next up, we got the Blox Island. Everybody should know about this NPC. He basically just has fruits. You can buy them if they're in stock. Next up, we got the blacksmith. Basically just upgrade your guns or your swords, which gives them the ability to be enchanted. Moving on to Hydra Island, we only got one NPC here, and he's called the Arena Trainer NPC. This is a quest NPC, and he's actually pretty hidden, and not a lot of people know about this guy. You have to be at least level 1500 to access this guy, and once you talk to him, he's going to give you a quest with the training dummy. He has a total of 22,500 HP and does around 1,100 damage per hit, so make sure you don't get hit by him. And also make sure you continuously do damage to him, because if he stops taking damage for even 1 second, he'll regenerate back to max HP instantly. And once you finish the quest, you get 22,000 belly, 40 million XP, and 200 fragments. And if you're high level, this should be extremely easy to do. Moving on to the next island we got here is the Great Tree. The first NPC is the crew captain. This is an NPC that sells you crew slots, and you can only buy this if you're a captain of a crew. You can buy up to a total of 30 slots, but they might change this in the near future. Moving on to the next NPC, we got the Mysterious Forest, and a lot of people don't know about this guy because he's literally invisible, and he's all the way at the top of the Great Tree. But if you talk to him before you defeat the Rip Indra boss, then he's gonna say there's something there, but you can't quite place it. But once you defeat him, he's gonna say a strong foe prevents you from entering, and that's gonna allow you to do the trials. Moving on to the Floating Turtle, we got a butt ton of NPCs here, starting off with the Crypt Master, and he's basically gonna open the door to the crypt. That's why he's called the Crypt Master. The crypt is basically a huge stone structure that contains the Cursed Skeleton, which is a pretty rare NPC, and it lets you obtain the Cursed Dual Katana. The Yama Scroll and the Tushita Scroll are also located inside the crypt, so if you want to get those, you know exactly where to go. But keep in mind, to talk to this guy, you have to be at least level 2200, and you have to have obtained the Yama and Tushita Sword with a 300 mastery on both of them. And to read the scrolls, you need to have a 350 plus mastery. Damn, there's a lot of stuff. Moving on to the next NPC we got here, he's called a Citizen, and you have to be at least level 1800 or above to talk to this guy. And this is basically the NPC that you go to when you want to get Instinct V2, and everyone knows that Instinct V2 is a lot better than the first version, so you can view the player's level, fighting style, sword, blocks, food, and gun, basically their whole inventory. That is really overpowered. You also have to have 5 million extra belly to pay this guy. The next NPC we got here is called the Ancient Monk, and he basically teaches people the god-human fighting style. Well, it's basically the most overpowered and most difficult to get fighting style in the whole game. He's basically located at this tree on the Floating Turtle. Next up, we got the previous hero NPC, and this is the rabbit NPC that sells you the Electric Claw fighting style, but you do have to complete a short quest to be able to buy it, and that quest literally just involves getting to the mansion. But if you want to cheese it, you can use the portal fruit, the light fruit, or just set your spawn there and teleport. Pretty simple. Next up, we got the Hungry Man NPC, and this guy's also a part of the quest to unlock Observation V2. Next up, we got the Horned Man NPC, and this guy actually gives you the quest to get the Rainbow Savior Aura color, which is literally one of the coolest looking hockey colors in the whole game. It literally makes you glow and change colors all the time. Next up, we got the Mysterious Entity, previously known as Wedlock Toad over Heaven. Not sure what that means. He basically just lets you awaken a move of your fruit once you're done with the specific raid. He's actually located somewhere underneath the Turtle Island, and if you manage to glitch into your box, you will actually not be able to awaken your fruit. You have to complete the raid and do it the legit way. Moving on to the next island, we got the Haunted Castle. The first NPC we got here is called the Death King, and he actually exchanges bones for a bunch of random items. In the common tier, you can get 6 to 30,000 belly or 100 to 250 fragments. In the uncommon section, you can get the Golden Sun Hat, Barriers, and 10 minutes of double XP. And in the rare section, you can get Fire Essence, and in the legendary section, you can get Halo Essence. Next up, we got the Uzoth NPC, who teaches you the Dragon Talon fighting style, which is the V2 of Dragon's Breath, which you can get from Sabi NPC located in the 2nd sea. Next up, we got the Word Machine, and I'm not sure why this counts as an NPC. It's literally a machine. And this is actually the NPC you go to for the final part of the Soul Guitar puzzle. And everyone knows the Soul Guitar is probably the best gun in the whole game. It's the only mythical gun. Next up, we got the Ghost NPC, and also a part of the Soul Guitar puzzle, and he's also located on this island. Next up, we got the Gravestone NPC, and for this one, you're literally going to be talking to a random gravestone, and you have one option when you come over here. You can just pray. If you pray during a full moon, then you get an option to play a game, and after completing it, you will gain access to the Word Machine, which sells you the Soul Guitar. So this is also a part of the Soul Guitar quest. Moving on to the next island, or islands should I say, we got the Sea of Treats. And the first NPC we got here is the Sick Scientist for unlocking the Phoenix raids. And Sick Scientist cannot be spoken to unless you have a 400 mastery on your Phoenix fruit. But keep in mind, if you want to awaken your Phoenix fruit, you do need a lot of other requirements. Next is the Cake Scientist. And this is the guy you need if you want to unlock your dough raids. Everyone knows that the dough fruit is one of the best PvP fruits in the whole game. So if you're really serious about getting better at Blox fruits, make sure you get this fruit awakened. The next NPC we got here is Drip Mama. And this guy basically just tells you how many enemies you need to defeat in order to start the Cake Prince or Dough King raid. And fighting the Dough King or the Cake Prince is probably one of the hardest things to do. So make sure you have a squad with you. Next up we got the Sweet Crafter. And the only reason this NPC exists is to let you craft the God's Chalice, who is basically going to upgrade the Cake Prince to the Dough King, which is incredibly difficult to get. Moving on to the next island, which is the Castle on the Sea. The first NPC we got here is Leuven. And to talk to this guy, you have to defeat at least 5 elite pirates. And he basically just sells you the pretty helmet. Next NPC we got here is Plokester, and you should know what this guy does. You can basically just reset your stat points for a fixed price of 2,500 fragments, which is not that easy to get, so you don't want to be resetting your stat points too often. Next up we got the Butler, and this guy basically just gives you info on how to get Observation V2, the Pirate Raids, Elite Pirates, the Tushida, and the Yama Sword. Next up we got the Mysterious Scientist, and this guy basically just lets you start raids. He's also located in the second sea. If you fit the requirements, you can also start an advanced raid from this guy. Next up we got the Takamura NPC. Give a player the Jaw Shield after completing 5 player hunter quests. Next up we got the Aura Editor, and this one is pretty self-explanatory. He just basically lets you change your hockey color. Next up we got Fio the Reformed. This NPC sells you the Death Step fighting style, or lets you equip it if you already have it unlocked. Next up we got the Water Kung Fu Teacher. You can basically just equip the Water Kung Fu fighting style, or you can buy for 750,000 belly. Next up we got the Dark Step Teacher. Buy the Dark Step fighting style for 150,000 belly, or equip it from here if you already have it unlocked. Next up we got the Mad Scientist, and this guy can teach you the electric fighting style for 500,000 belly, or equip it from here whenever you want. Next up we got Dirock the Sharkman, and for this one you can buy the Sharkman Karate fighting style. Next up we got Martial Arts Teacher, and this guy just lets you equip the Superhuman fighting style. Next up we got Sabi, and this guy just lets you equip the Dragon's Breath fighting style, or buy it for 1,500 fragments. Next up we got the Elite Hunter NPC, and this is the NPC that gives you the Yama quest. Next up we got the Player Hunter NPC. This guy just gives you a quest to kill any random player on the server, and you get a small reward for it. Next up we got the Remove Blox Fruit NPC, whose name literally explains what he does. He just removes your Blox Fruit, but you do have to pay him 50,000 belly. I'm not really sure why anyone would do this though. Next up we got the Temple of Time, and a lot of you actually don't know this island because it's located pretty far away. The next island we got here is the Tiki Outpost, and the first NPC we got here is Shafian, who actually sells you the Sanguine Art fighting style. And let me tell you, this stuff is not easy to come by, but the fighting style is 100% worth it. Still not better than God Human though. Next is the Dragon Talon Sage, and this is an NPC that just lets you craft scrolls and enchant your weapons whenever you want. Next up we got the Beast Hunter NPC. This is required to obtain the Leviathan Crown, as well as the Leviathan Shield and the Beast Hunter boat. And everyone knows this boat is incredibly difficult when you're hunting sea beasts. Next up we got the Shark Hunter NPC, and this guy lets you craft different accessories. The first accessory is the Shark Tooth Necklace. The second one is the Terror Jaw, as well as the Monster Magnet. Next up we got the Spy NPC, who sells you clues about the Leviathan for 1,500 fragments. And currently in the game, this is the only way to summon the Leviathan. Next up we got the Shipwright Teacher, and this guy just teaches you the Shipwright subclass. Moving on to the next island, the Mirage Island, which is an island that has a random chance of spawning in. And on this island, we got one of the best NPCs in the whole game, the Advanced Blox Fruit Dealer. And you might be thinking, wait a minute, don't we already have a Blox Fruit Dealer? Well, this guy is 100 times better. He has to have a minimum of 7 fruits in stock. The normal one can only have 3. And he has a way higher chance of having legendary fruits in stock, and he also restocks every 2 hours compared to the 4 hours of the normal Blox Fruit Dealer. Moving on to the next island, we got the Kitsune Island, and the NPC we got here is the Kitsune Shrine. And this was obviously added during the Kitsune update. And that's pretty much it.